Ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our August Shotsuki Memorial Service. I'm Deborah Saiki, and I'll be serving as your MC today. Please join me in 1 minute of silent meditation. Let's put our hands together in Gassho. Thank you. We will now have sutra chanting, Amidakyo, which is on page 70 of your red service book. Please put our hands together in Gassho before we begin. I will be reading the Shotsuki memorial names. So please come up to offer incense when your family's name or loved one's name is called. Mrs. Reiko Arakaki, Mrs. Harumi Fushikami, Mrs. Irene Masako Fujiki, Mr. Masaru Fujiki, Mr. Roy Yoshito Fudoyama, Mrs. Nancy Harue Amai, Mr. Raymond Minoru Hamamoto, Mrs. Doris Hisako Hanai, Miss Fusae Hayakawa, Mr. Leroy Tadashi Hayashida, Mrs. Hisae Hebaru, Mrs. Masano Hirashima, Ms. Janice Motoko Hirata, Mr. Edwin Osaka, Mrs. Tatsue Ikeda, Mrs. Mitsuye Ikuta, Mr. Lawrence Larry Masaru Imai, Mrs. Yoneko Iraha, Mr. Jack Tatumi Ishida, Mr. Richard Hiroki Ishida Jr., Mr. Kenzo Ishii, Mr. Lester Takeshi Kaichi, Mr. Jack Shigeru Kaneshiro, Mrs. Beatrice Nanie Kimura, Mrs. Jean Katsuko, Matsuwaki, Mr. Thomas Nimuro, Mrs. Yukie Minatoya, Mr. Kameo Miyahira, Mrs. Mae Mitsue Kikuchi Miyasato, Mr. Thomas Miyashiro, Mr. Haruo Nagashima, Mr. Wallace Shigeru Naito, Mr. Toshikatsu Nakahara, Mrs. Wilma Kinuyo Nakano, Ms. Susan Yoshie Ori Moody, Mr. Herbert Shunji Okamoto, Mr. George Minoru Sagawa, Mr. Robert Masahiro Sakamoto, Mrs. Ruth Natsuko Sasabushi. Mrs. Helen Fumiko Shimazu, Mrs. Jane Masuyo Shimogawa, Mr. Masao Shimomura, Mrs. Chieko Sugimoto Inoue, Mrs. Shizuko Sumie, Mrs. Matsue Takayama, Mrs. Hilda Hideko Takehiro, Mr. Moriso Takenaka, Mrs. Tomie Tanito, Mrs. Jean Yukie Kanoe, Mrs. Jean Mitsuko Tokunaga, Mrs. Agnes Yukino Tsuchiyama, Mr. Tomochika Ueda, Mrs. Florence Chiyoko Ueno, Ms. Adeline Sugai Ventura, Mrs. Chiyoko Watanabe, Mr. John Masami Yamada, Ms. Janet Setsuko Yamaguchi, Mrs. Fumie Yoshida, Mrs. Eiko Yoshida, Mrs. Kinio Yoshino. If anyone else would like to come up and offer incense, you can do so at this time. Will everyone please rise if you're able for Vandana Ti-Sarana. It is on page 17 of your red service book. This will be led by Reverend Steve, and please remain standing for three treasures, which is on the following page.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa buddham saranam gacchami dhammam saranam gacchami sangham saranam gacchami. Difficult is it to receive life in human form, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the Buddha Dharma, now we hear it. If we do not receive awakening in the present life, then in what life can we hope to receive it? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together as one, begin on the great path of enlightenment, holding in our hearts supreme aspiration. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together as one, enter the storehouse of the Dharma and attain true wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together as one, uniting in harmony, strive to live for the enlightenment of all beings. The incomparable, deep, and profound Dharma is difficult to encounter even through countless ages of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us endeavor to thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Buddha Dharma. Namo Amidakyo Sutra. Namo Amidakyo Sutra. Okay, you may be seated.
Thanks for your participation. We're now going to have a Dharma message by Rinban Takami Inoue.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to the August Shotsuki Memorial Service at Higashi Honganji Hawaii Betsuin. This morning, I would like to talk briefly about the significance of Shotsuki Memorial Service. And then after that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the history of memorial services and funerals in Buddhist tradition, including Obon service. Shotsuki Memorial Service, as Debbie explained to you, we observe every month, the first Sunday, we observe this Shotsuki. Shotsuki means the right exact month. When a person dies in August, they are members of the temple, this temple, who passed away in the month of August. Their names are read, announced during the chanting of the Amidakyo Sutra. So we remember those who have passed away in the month of August, and we remember them by observing this Shotsuki service. In Jodo Shinshu teaching, death is not, physical death is not the end of our life. After we die, for some reason, sickness or accident, there are various reasons we end our lives. But it is sure, all of us here who are living now, in the future, sometime, we don't know, but we will end our life here in this world and be born in the Pure Land. So this line divides Shabbat, the world of enduring, our world, and the other side, the altered side, is the Pure Land. So we move from here to there someday, sometime in the future. And we remember those who have been born in the Pure Land, they are not just staying there, they come back to us. When we remember them, their names, their voice, their facial expressions, as long as we remember them, when we remember them, they come back to us. So physically, we go to be born in the Pure Land and disappear physically from this world to that world, the other world. But in our memory, those who remember those who have already been born in the Pure Land, in our memory, they continue to live as Buddhas. In Jodo Shinshu, at the moment of death, we move here to there and become Buddhas, awakened. So in our tradition, we We don't need to fear going to be born in hell, the painful, dreadful realm where everything is suffering. we continue to suffer forever in the hell if you are born in hell. But we don't need to worry about that. Jodo Shinshu followers, as long as we say Namu Amidabus and with sincere and trusting mind, even if it's only once in your lifetime, you'll be born in the Pure Land. You don't need to worry about after death you suffer in hell or the realm of hungry ghost. We all go to the Pure Land. And at the temple, Jodo Shinshu temple, the inner altar, the center is Amida Buddha, the golden figure, Amida Buddha in human form. He looks like Shakyamuni Buddha. If you go to visit other temples in other denominations, you see the central Buddha figure image as Shakyamuni Buddha. And here in Jodo Shinshu temples and Jodoshu temples, we enshrine Amida Buddha instead of Shakyamuni Buddha. But Shakyamuni, as historical Buddha, the person, he was born. Shakyamuni was a historical person. He was born as a human being and about 2,500 years ago in India. And he was awakened. He realized the truth and he became the Buddha. The Buddha means awakened one. So Amida Buddha represents maybe Shakyamuni's eternal wisdom and lifespan. That side is represented as Amida Buddha. So you cannot tell the difference even if you take a look at, compare historical Shakyamuni Buddha's statue and Amida Buddha's statue. There is not much difference in it. So here Amida Buddha is represented as human figure. And he stands on the lotus pedestal. Last month, I talked briefly about the significance of this lotus flower. This is now is the season of lotus flowers. Many lotus ponds, if you go there, the flowers are in full bloom. So lotus pedestal and Amida Buddha standing above that. So he is the symbol of this lotus flower, which represent the awakening. Lotus pond represents our blind passions, many desires and not good part of us. Cause of our suffering is blind passions, desires, but it's transformed into, it's an alchemical change. Dirty, stinky, our desire, the cause of our suffering, that's transformed into this beautiful awakening flower, lotus flower. So that flowers part is this Buddha. Buddha can transform our cause of our suffering into our awakening. So the teaching, by listening to the teaching, then we are transformed and we will be born, we will be awakened too. That is represented by this golden altar with flowers and incense. That's a description of Skuhavati, Amida Buddha's Pure Land in Amida Sutra. We just chanted. Described a very beautiful place with lotus flower, many different colors of lotus flowers, different sizes, huge flowers in the Pure Land, lotus flowers and incense, those fragrance of lotus flowers and light and golden, different variety of gems adorn the Pure Land. And here, right side is Shinran Shonin, the founder of our denomination, and left side is Rennyo Shonin, the eighth abbot of Honganji. And further to the left, the standing figure on that scroll is Shotoku Taishi, Prince Shotoku, who spread Buddhism in Japan. And the further to the left is the 7 Pure Land Masters, India, China, and Japan. And the last one is Honen Shonin, Shinran Shonin's teacher. And further to the right, there are, at the center of the scroll, three scrolls, Namu Amida Butsu, 6 characters on the lotus pedestal. So these 6 characters represent awakening too. Namu Amida Butsu is the same as Amida Buddha. These 6 characters represent the working of this true awakening. And when we say Namu Amida Butsu, we take part in this working of the names. Name represent Amida's great compassion, and by vocalizing, by saying Namu Amida Butsu, we become part of that working. That's the significance of this adornment in the Pure Land. And the origin of this temple structure, this goes back to India. In India, when the origin is the Shakyamuni Buddha, this historical figure, he was a prince of the tribal kingdom, Shakya. And he was a prince, and he was expected to become the next king. He was crown prince of that tribal kingdom. But he deserted that kingdom and kingship, and he went into the world of spiritual seeking. He became a seeker of the truth, and he deserted his family, and he spent 6 years engaged in various religious practice. Some of them are very strenuous ascetic practices, but after 6 years, he realized those kugyo, the painful ascetic practices, are meaningless, and he sat under the tree, which was named later Bodhi tree, awakening tree. He sat there and he realized the truth in meditation, self-reflection. And he became Buddha at the age of 35. And he spread the teaching, what he was realized, what he was awakened to, this truth. He tried to explain, preach that in words. It was difficult for him because it was a very abstract, very difficult truth. Simple, but it's difficult to explain in language. But he tried that, and many people understood the truth by his discourse, the explaining of the truth. And there are many ways to explain that, and one of them, well known, is dependent origination, engi. Everything, microphone or pencil, those things, it seems this is a pen, an independent substance, but this is made up of many parts and many material. And for certain period, when this is composed as a pen, it functions as pen. But if you take this on the charcoal, this will burn and disappear. So in certain condition, this stays as pen for some time, but this thing we call pen or pencil, these are not permanent substance, permanent existence. So dependent origination, and as a phenomenon exists for a certain time, but it disappears in the 100 years from now. This won't be like this, and probably it was in the somewhere in the garbage and disappear from this world. went back to the material, the plastic thing. Everything is like that, and that's to see things' existence as dependently arising phenomena is one way of telling the truth that Siddhartha did. And there are many different ways of explaining that truth. And he tried his best for 45 years. And after 45 years, at the age of 80, he died. He passed away in Kushinagara. And after he passed away, many people who listened to his teaching gathered and remember what Shakyamuni had taught them. And they repeated, I heard from the Buddha this truth. And the others, different place, heard different discourse, and they explained that to others. And they gathered and remembered him. At the beginning was this cremation of his Shakyamuni's body. Shakyamuni instructed his disciples not to engage in the funeral practice. His funeral was according to the Indian custom, in Shakyamuni tribe's custom. And he was cremated and his ashes were collected. And many people wanted that sharira, ashes born of Shakyamuni, because it used to consist of the Buddha. So Buddha's the bones and ashes were divided into 8, and 8 places there was a stupa, the pagoda, Buddhist pagoda was made. And then after 200 or 300 years later, King Ashoka appeared. He's a famous Indian king who spread the Buddhism. And he divided those stupas into many smaller, more stupas. So according to a legend, King Ashoka built 84,000 stupas, Buddhist pagodas, which enshrine part of Shakyamuni's bones and ashes. And those temples are created, stupas are created in India, Central Asia, and then spread to China and Korean Peninsula and to Japan. So in Japan, it was about 5th to 6th century. Buddhism was introduced first among Korean and Chinese immigrants community in Japanese archipelago. And they built those stupas, part of the very minute, maybe very small, 1 millimeter or something of the ashes or the tooth. Those are enshrined, and the great pagoda stupa were built, like Horyuji in Nara and Toji in Kyoto, those huge 5-story pagodas. They were originally this Shakyamuni's earth mound, which enshrined Shakyamuni's body, part of his body. And people gathered at these stupas regularly. Nirvana Day, the day Shakyamuni passed away, in Japanese tradition, we celebrate it in February 15th, second month, 15th day, and Nihane. So we have done this memorial service for Shakyamuni's death for almost 2,500 years. And we still continue this year, today, contemporary temples in Hawaii, and we observe Nihane in each temple. Jodo Shinshu doesn't do too much of this Nihane or Jodoe, but these memorial services are observed, and that's an important occasion for the followers, people to come into contact with Buddha's words. So today we have new participants, new audience here today, and maybe they have a chance to listen to Buddha's teaching at the temple, at memorial services. And usually those stupas are surrounded by cemetery. Those Buddhists, most of them are cremated, and their ashes and bones are enshrined near the Buddha's stupa, Buddhist stupa, from India to China and in Japan, like Koyasan and Zenkoji, those great stupa site. There are many small tombs of individuals. So they want to be closer to Buddha's sharira, Buddha's part of Buddha's body, and they wanted to be closer, cremated and buried closer to the Buddha. And family members gather there, go there, and listen to the teaching in Koyasan or Zenkoji. By that way, funerals and memorial service are very important occasion for people to come into contact with Buddha's teaching. So those temples today, the archetype, the prototype of Buddhist temple today is Indian Buddhist stupas. So we continue to do this memorial service and funerals, and that's an important religious practice, ritual for us today, I think. Before I came to Hawaii, I was a college teacher, and I was not so interested in practices like chanting sutras and getting together at memorial services. But after I came here, I realized the importance of getting together on a certain day and remembering people whom we loved or we knew. And at that place, we listen to the teaching and we come into contact with the teaching, and then we participate in that work of the Buddhas, those who have already gone to the Pure Land, and their work to us as Buddha is, by remembering them, Buddhist teaching come into us. We listen to Buddha's words, and we have the very important opportunity to come into contact and think about our lives. That's the, I think, significance of memorial services and funerals. And in my case, I remember one of the earliest family members who died was my grandfather. He died when I was 2, and I don't remember him. But my grandmother, father's side, she passed away when I was 8. So it's 58 years ago. And I still remember her. She lived with me, and I was like Leo's age. And I remember her voice and what she told me, and how she told that words to me. I vividly and clearly remember Oba-chan. So whenever I remember her, her words and her personality, what she wanted me to live my life almost 60 years ago, still continues to work in me. That's I think, wonderful thing to remember a person whom you know well, whom you love, and although that person is already in the Pure Land for 58 years, but she still works on the way I live my life. Her influence continues as long as I remember her. That's a great thing, and every one of you have that kind of person, many, 4 grandpas, grandparents, and other friends who have already died. You miss them, and whenever you remember what they are what they tell you, they told you, and what kind of things that you share with them. As long as you remember that continues to influence the way you live your life from now to or last day in here in this world. I think that's the significance of remembering, and in Jodo Shinshu's way of coming back to this world means we come back and in people's memory, and you can walk in your family members and your friends' memory. So your life doesn't end at the moment of physical death. It continues to work for, in a sense, forever. It's part of Amida Buddha's great compassion. You become part of that great compassion. That's a very positive thing and encouraging thing for us to think about. Our death is not just disappearing from this world, but you continue to live in your friends and family members, those whom you love. You continue to live in their memory, and you come into contact with them whenever they remember you. That's a very important teaching of Jodo Shinshu, I think. That's my Dharma message today. Thank you for listening. ちょっとだけ日本語です。今日初めての方もいらっしゃるので、浄土真宗のお寺でこういう小月というその月に亡くなった方々の、お参りための法要を毎月アメリカでは第一日曜日に営んでおります。で、阿弥陀経を読んで、そういう人たちの名前が呼ばれますけれども、度胸中に。で、みんなで、家族の人とかお友達がそこでその人のことを思い出して、で、お参りをして、南無阿弥陀仏と一緒にお念仏をする。そういうお務めです。で、どういう意味があるかというと、仏教の始まりから、その亡くなった方々のために集まって法要を営むということは、仏教の中でとても大事な役割を果たしてきました。日本では葬式仏教とか言って、あまり良くないことのように言われる、ネガティブに言われることがありますけど、実は仏教の中で教えが多くの人に共有されてきて、今まで続いて、仏教が続いているということの中に、この法事をしたり、お葬式を営むということが大きな意味を持っています。で、このお寺自体、お寺っていうものが出来上がった経緯からすると、歴史的なお釈迦様が亡くなったときに、お釈迦様の遺言としては、弟子たちに葬儀には関わるなという遺言をしているんですけれども、釈迦族の伝統に従って、火葬されて、その遺骨が、ストゥーパ、仏塔に収められます。で、仏塔っていうのは最初はこういう盛り土ですね。土を盛ったもので、その周りにいろんな飾りがだんだん飾られるようになって、ブッダが、最初は法輪とか木で、菩提樹で表されている。象徴されていたのが、大乗仏教ぐらいになると、人間の姿をしたブッダが、その仏塔の周りに美術的な仏教芸術として表現されるようになった。で、大乗の中で文学的、それから美術的なそういうブッダの表現ができて、それは仏塔を中心に、ストゥーパの周りに人が集まる場所ができて、でそこで、法を説く人、ダルマバーナが、骨師が、お経の説明をしたり、法話をしたり、お釈迦様の教えを説く。ですから、仏塔に集まって、いろんな、そこに人が集まる場所であって、仏教に触れる、そういう大事な場所だったということです。で、そこで、どういうことが行われたかというと、お釈迦様の、ご命日、涅槃へという涅槃に入られた日に日本では2月15日ですけれども、それぞれの、定まった日にお釈迦様の法事を営むということがあります。で、それだけじゃなくて、仏塔の周りにはその仏教に帰依した人たち、それぞれが自分の、親や家族のお墓を作って、ですから仏塔を中心に周りに墓地が形成されていると。日本ですと高野山とか善光寺とか大きなお寺はみんなそういう、分骨してみんながお参りに行く、そういう場所として続いてきています。ですからそういうところへ 納骨をしてお参りに行って教えに触れるということが仏教が広まってくる中で非常に大きな意味を持ったということです。で、お釈迦様の骨が本当に8万4000、アショーカ王がそれを分けて仏塔ができて世界中アジアに広まったって言われていますけれど、法隆寺やああいう大きなお寺の心柱の五重塔の下には一応そういうシャリがお釈迦様の体であった一部が入っているということになっております。で、その周りに人が集まって、自分たちも教えに触れたり、で、自分たちが亡くなった時にはその近くに墓地を作って埋葬、分骨してそこに入る。趣味壇にも趣味壇収骨という形で納骨できますけれども、そういう習慣、そういう制度があって、仏教が長い間続いてきた。仏の教えに触れるということは、お寺に行って、仏塔のあるところに行って、で、その亡くなった方のお墓にお参りしたり、お寺の中で本堂でお参りすることを通じて、教えに触れる。そういう場所として続いてきている。そういう中で、お寺でお勤めを、その個人の正月にお勤めをする、あるいはお寺の人に来ていただいて、そういう正月に法要するということが日本でずっと続いてきて、ですから、葬式仏教とかけなされていますけど、実は葬式を通じて人間の死という本当に大事な、通過儀礼ですけれども、それを通じて仏教が私たちの中に生き続けてきたという、そういう面があります。ですから、浄土真宗の場合には、死んでそれで体がなくなったらおしまいということではなくて、亡くなったら火葬されて、で、体の方はもう白骨になってしまう。それは、納骨されるだけのものになっちゃう。無常なわけですけれども、私たちのその命というのはその体の部分だけではなくて、他のその生きている間に一緒に生活したり、つながるご縁のあった人たちの記憶の中に私たちは生き続ける。その人のことを覚えている人がいる限り、その人はスピリチュアルなレベルでは生きているという、生きて働いているというふうに言えると、親鸞聖人の言い方ですと、浄土へ行っておしまいじゃなくて、浄土に往生しても、また帰ってきて、このシャバで苦しんでいる人たちが、おばあちゃんこうだったなとか、そう思い出すときに働くことができる。そういう中で、浄土真宗の教えの中でですね、お念仏をするっていうことは、そういう個人のためにするっていうよりは、個人が亡くなった人が仏として私たちに呼びかけてくださって、それに応える形で私たちが何万だと備える。そういうふうに親鸞聖人は受け止めていらっしゃいます。そういう意味で、お葬式に参列するとか、それから法事にお参りに会うっていうのは非常に大事な仏教に触れる、仏の教えに触れる機会ですので、そういう気持ちでお参りいただければいいかなというふうに思います。以上が、本日の法話であります。ありがとうございました。
Thank you, Rinban Inoue, for your talk on the origin and explanation of Jodo Shinshu and also of Shotsuki. It's I think, a wonderful thought that your loved ones, your deceased loved ones, return to you when you remember them. So, thank you. Now, a few announcements. Today at noon, Japanese for Travelers class at Otani Center. And at 11:30, Photography Club conference room. On the 5th, Wednesday at 5:30 p.m., karaoke night at the Betsuin, in person and Zoom. On the 9th, Sunday, 10 a.m., we will be cleaning the Himemaru Memorial. We're going to have a service there and also a picnic with the Inoue Higashi Honganji. So there will be no service here at the temple. If you'd like to carpool, please arrive here by 9:45 a.m. Also on the 9th, there will be no Japanese for Travelers class that day. On the 11th, Tuesday at 3 p.m., ukulele band practice in person and Zoom. On the 16th, Sunday at 10 a.m., a regular Sunday service in person and YouTube. There will also be a Japanese for Travelers class at noon at Otani Center. On the 18th, Tuesday, 11:30 a.m., lunch bunch at Midtown Eats Food Hall. Please meet at the temple if you'd like to carpool at 30 minutes prior, Reverend Steve. Okay. So at 11, meet at 11 if you'd like to carpool. On the 23rd, Sunday, 10 a.m., Sunday service in person and YouTube. And at noon is Japanese for Travelers class at Otani Center. On October 25th, Tuesday, 3 p.m. is ukulele band practice in person and Zoom. There will be no dinner that evening, movie night. We're going to skip that this month. We will now be singing the Gatha Ondokusan, which is on page 112 of your red service book. If you're able, please stand and please join me in Gassho prior to singing. Oh, you may be seated. Thank you. This concludes our service today. Please join us across the way at Otani Hall for our Otoki lunch. And thank you all for coming. Hope to see you all next week.